This is the third video in a row that I am shooting. So because again my mind went, ideally I should do it with a gap so that the same vibe of today is not transferred through all the videos. Maybe I'll do it better tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to have much more comprehensive understanding of what I want to talk about. All of that I want to say and do, but all of that I will not do. I refuse to stall the process anymore. Cold water does not become hot if you do not touch it for 3 hours. It will remain the same. The first steps will be wobbly. The first few fuck ups are unavoidable. I should again not be swearing. I should edit this then. Should put like the beep sound. But let's start with the screenshots that I had taken in the second week of January. This is the third week, right? The third week has started. Okay, so 1 second. Should we do? Okay, we'll do. So maybe we'll put week 1 as week 0 because that was regarding Christmas and 2025. Then this will be week 1. So in this one there are a few screenshots that I have to go through, and I'll talk about things in, maybe there'll be a thread connecting them, we'll see. But one of the first things we should start with is, there's a recent GMM episode that I was watching, and there I think there was a confusion. Red said 1/8 divided by 2. So either one of them, either Red said it is 1/4, and no, he said it is 1/16. Stevie said it is 1/4. So regards to that, I had replied to someone's comment saying this is, both of them are correct, because this is not a confusion of like what is the correct answer. Both of them are correct. This is the confusion of English versus maths. When they say divided by 2, did they mean it in the literal sense of dividing into 2, sectioning it off into 2, which makes it 1/16, or did they mean it in the mathematical understanding of the division or of 1/8 by 1/2, which makes it multiply by 2, which makes it 1/4. So that is what I had put as a reply to someone's comment, and 2 people replied to it. One of them said that was just gibberish, and the other one said great explanation. Not that the gibberish comment bothers you. you are this is, come on, that was not bothersome in any manner. I have thick skin, but this is not anything regarding to thick skin. This is really not that big of a deal. But it was even more evident when the second comment came up, which was like great explanation. So because I had taken the time to write this much, I was really expecting someone to say nicely put, So when the person said great explanation, it felt really nice. So in my mind I was like, this is not about these two people. This is not about me as well. How many times have we received gibberish comments, like the comments that this particular aspect of you is gibberish, than compliments? How many times have we received it? And because we did not receive the second one, the compliment, the reassuring part, because we didn't receive it, we sort of took the first one to heart, and then we ran with it, and then repeated it again and again in our mind for it to become our truth at some point. How many truths are we carrying that are actually lies? How many things that we believe about ourselves that are actually not true? So that is what I wanted to start with. But it is just something about how we are very prone to outside understanding of ourselves, and that is the point, because we are social animals. But like, at some point, can there be an objective understanding of a person? An objective understanding of a person, does it exist? And if it does, then how do you access it? Because you can't. I cannot have an objective understanding of myself. Everyone who looks at you from their brain. There's a fabulous quote that has been going on in my mind. You do not experience the world, you experience your nervous system. And that has, you know how little things are big breakthroughs? Like, that is what this quote has felt like, and I've been repeating it in my head for hours at a time and for weeks now. So the point is, like, whenever I look at something, I am experiencing myself. I am not experiencing the world. That is the understanding of it, right? In the same theme, there is this post by War Paint Journal. So they made a 20-slide post, and I highly recommend that you take the time to go through it. Maybe not all 20 at a time, it is overwhelming, but like, if you do wish, take the time to write 5 of them on paper each day for 4 days or every day, I don't know. Like, just take the time to really give attention to this post. One of them, for example, is, I often describe myself as awkward, but I've come to realize that the more accurate description is uninterested in performing ease. Such a beautiful way to put things. Such a beautiful way. Words are expression of life, but words at some point are also escaping life, because when we are experiencing life really intensely, we are at loss of words. So that being said, the entire point is, but words are important too. Words are beautiful. Words are really powerful as well. Uninterested in performing ease. If that is the perspective that we were given as kids to look at, if that is how we looked at ourselves, how different would our own understanding of life and world be? Simply because we saw it as an extension of our boundaries, as an extension of our personality, rather than as a limitation on it. So there are like 20 slides in it. I wish I had it open in my mind, in my phone right now, but that is not the case. So I'm only going to read one. The nervous system quote now, that you are not experiencing the world, you are experiencing your own nervous system. On the similar note, something else that I came across was by Greek Pepperoni. I'll put the reel or I'll put the link. But what he says is, you should not climb the mountain for the world to see you. You should climb the mountain for you to see the world. You are not climbing that up high to be looked at. That is not your life. To be looked at is someone else's life. Someone else is looking at you. That is not your life. Your life is what you experience through you, what you are thinking. So even after reaching the top of the mountain, if I am thinking about what someone else is thinking, how I am being looked at, and you can't, obviously, ideally you can be completely free from the concept of being perceived, but realistically it is not possible. I think in some manner it is good that it is not possible. A certain basic understanding of being perceived kind of puts upon us at least a little bit of moral limitation, that you should behave as a member of the society. But that is fine. There are multiple good things about being looked at, because you get to see yourself from the perspective of people who love you, and they make you see things that you don't see about yourself, and that is beautiful. But the point we are getting at is not that. This is with respect to how, if I have gone through all of my life and I reach a point where I feel rested, but if even that rest is disrupted by someone else's understanding of me, or even just my perception of someone else's understanding of me, then have I actually reached at the top of the mountain? The main point is not to reach at a physical destination. the point is to find relief from, like, to practice. This is why they say you have to practice yoga. You can't do yoga in Hindi means sum. It is the sum of the body, the mind and the soul being present at the same place. Like all three things, when they are summed up together, when your mind and your conscience is where your feet are, that is when you are practicing yoga. So you can only practice it because there are moments of flow, as they say, and there are moments when you become aware and all of that, and that is fine. That is the point of being a human. But the way Greek Pepperoni put it, he was like, you shouldn't climb the mountains for the world to see you. You should climb the mountains for you to see the world. Very simple to say, not that simple to do, but very, very profound. One of my teachers said, the simpler someone can explain some concept, the better they understand it, because they've worked through so much of the body of work that now their understanding of all of it is very condensed and very, like, precise, you know. So that is what she used to say. Something else that I saw. Again, this is with respect to the fact that when we say we are experiencing our nervous systems, we have to be a level, like, we have to be a little bit kinder to ourselves when we look at it from that perspective, because if you are experiencing your nervous system, you are also still actively participating in creating new neural frameworks. So that experience of yourself, being an audience to yourself, should, at least we should try to make that perception be more softer. So we should try to make it softer, for the lack of a better word, because you know how I am looking at me, but the way I react after looking at me is also creating more neural pathways for me to look at myself later on, you know. So you should, even though you are looking at yourself and you should do it objectively, you are still the subject of it. So you are going to be subjected to what you decide to do as the subject who is observing. So that being said and done, like, my brain is the tool through which I understand my brain. That someone said it, I forgot who said it, but that is what it is. My heartbeat has been high for all 3 videos. I am not feeling like fully like myself, but that is the process, right? I can't be Michael Jackson on the first day of practice. I don't think one can ever be Michael Jackson. Someone like him is a true artist in the sense of the word, you know. A true artist is, art can never be separate from the artist. We'll talk about someday artificial intelligence. Fucking piece of shit, that technology. I do not hate anything in this world as passionately as I hate AI. But a true artist, the mark of a true artist is that their art is an extension of who they are, and because if they are rooted in love, then their art will be rooted in love. It will not be like pink and rosy all the time. That is not necessarily only love. Like, love is not just unicorns and roses. In The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, he says, if you seek only love's pleasure and not love's pain, then you may pass out pass out on love's floor, and you may laugh but not all of your laughter, and you may cry but not all of your tears. So don't expect, love is as much for your growth as much as it is for your pruning. All of that. Favorite thing I've ever read, that paragraph. But the entire book is genius. So in that they talk about it. So Michael Jackson is an artist whose work is rooted in love for people, for his art, and it is not separate from him, and it is his work has life because he is attached to life. His work is a reflection of life, which is why his work also has been political, because life is political. So the day that art stops imitating life and art stops being a true reflection of life, any true art is a reflection of life in some manner. So the day that art stops being a reflection of life is the day that it becomes artificial, and is the day that it becomes soulless, and is the day that it becomes apolitical. So many artists, when they say that their art is separate from the artist, that separation is more of their own separation from life, rather than, like, art is just an extension of who you are. You know, my book is me but in words, and someone's song is them but in melody. Someone's painting is them but in colors, a part of them surely, but them, you know, a part of them that is true today, maybe tomorrow it will change, but still them. You know what I'm saying? So whoever you are on the inside will be visible on the outside. You know, it will be visible through your art or the lack thereof, which brings us to our another screenshot, which is Luke chapter 12 verse 2 and 3 from Bible. However, nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light, and whatever you have whispered in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the housetops. So this is very, this kind of, you know how if I'm talking to myself in my head rude all the time, and I'm being like, oh, you don't know that, you didn't clear this, or you couldn't do that, and then my friends visit me and I am being kind to them, or in front of them I'm being kind to myself, that is a performance. That is, when we say life is art, I am performing, I am not being an artist. And artists can be performers, like artists can be entertainers, but that is a very small intersection, but that is also a topic for another day. But the point that I'm making is, when I beat myself up mentally, emotionally, any which way in my brain, and then I go out for shopping, and then I'm looking at some plates, some like crockery, and then by mistake I break one of them, then I am because I am so rude to myself in my mind, in that moment either I will break down and be extremely rubbish to myself in front of everyone, or I will have to pull so much energy, so much life force to perform the act of kindness for myself and for the other one, and it will be an absolute nervous breakdown either way. So the point that I'm making is, who I am to myself alone, by myself, is who I am going to be in front of others also. It cannot be, like, the point of life is to practice that these two versions get closer and closer, you know. And it is not that difficult after a certain point. It used to be difficult in around like 2022 and stuff like that, but I think with practice it gets really, really easy. It is like easier to set some boundaries with yourself, it is easier to call yourself out on certain behavior and all of that. But that is what the essence, right? Whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light. Whatever I have said to myself, it will either show up in my behavior with someone else, because at some point my energy to perform will be depleted, completely gone. So you can't do it forever, you know. So that is what that is. That is how I see this verse, but there must be multiple interpretations. Anyways, that should be it for this video.